there. It's Wednesday again and 6 p.m. And it's a new show today about your archetypes and your talents. And this time it will be about burnout. So wait a minute when I mention my new guest and interview her. But first, welcome. I'm Ofkje from the Netherlands. I'm a Jungian therapist. I'm a transformational teacher, talent coach, and I host this show every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time, 12 noon New York time, 5 p.m. London time, and 6 p.m. Paris time, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Berlin. So join me every week. This theme on my show is archetypes and talents. Open your treasure box, discover your archetypes, and meet your inner dream team. I will come to that in a few minutes. For every show, I invite a special guest, and today it's very special because I invited my daughter, Cathelijn. I want, for every show, this special guest, I want to hear from her life story, and especially I'm interested in life shifts. The life shifts people made and what archetypes role were played. So how do they use the archetypes in daily life and in their work? And was it perhaps a hidden talent that they rediscovered? It's also important to know that. So know more about your subconscious and be more aware who you are. Every show I end with a special offer, and today it will be about my burnout box. Or you can buy a session with a special reduction, or sometimes there will be a special offer also from my guest. So watch this show till the end. And now I explain you some more about archetypes, because archetypes, a lot of people don't know what is archetype. An archetypes are some inner personalities, and they are the mirror of your soul. They are rooted in the collective subconscious, and they help you connect with your soul, your heart, and your intuition. Everybody has archetypes, and we have 74 archetypes, I think. But most of the people, they don't know them, and they don't use them. And that's my mission, that people are reconnected with their archetypes and their talents. And when they aren't, it's a shame. For connecting with your archetypes and your soul means you make decisions with your heart, in line with your mission. Do you know what your mission is? The archetype quest game I made is very helpful to find your mission, what you come doing in this life, and for a more fulfilling life. In my show, you will see how you can meet this archetype. I call that an imagination. So you get a new contact with this archetype and you ask them, what is his functions? What does he do for you in daily life? And with my card deck about archetypes and talents, you can choose every day, or your family choose one card every day, so you can see and explore. Yeah. In this way, you can get more information and more awareness about yourself. So your most important archetypes you use every day is your inner dream team. That's how I call them. They are your inner friends. You can use them every time you need it. They help you to open your inner treasure box, because you have a lot of treasures inside of you. Because you are so much more than you think you are. So let's play together today again. Life is a game, and let's play it together. I talk about these aspects with Cathelijn Paling. She's from the Netherlands. And Cathelijn, she's a real millennial. I have some guests who are a bit older, and she's a young girl for nearly 30 years old. She's recovering from a serious burnout. And these days, more and more people, especially young people, and that's a pity to hear that, struggle with the consequences of a burnout. And one of the reasons I made a special card deck about burnout, I will talk about more and more after that interview. This is the card deck. It's really beautiful. It's about relight your fire. And what's so interesting is that there are some matches to relight your fire. So when you buy the card deck, you will have your own matches to relight your fire every day. And my very special guest is Cathelijn. Very special because she's one and my only daughter. So Cathelijn is a very talented writer and a journalist. She has her own website and she writes wonderful blogs about traveling and all the hot spots in the world. So from New York to Sevilla and from Bali to the Maldives. So I'm excited to welcome Cathelijn to my show today. Hi Cathelijn, Paling from the Netherlands. You're welcome in my Awake TV show. I told everybody about your millennial. You're a millennial and you have been burnout or still burnout. It's nice to have you here and very special for me because Cathelijn, she's my daughter and she's nearly 30 and I thought it's a very special subject to talk about burnout. Also because I made a game about burnout because I was so shocked that you have sometimes, yeah, you have also the box, that so many young people, school teachers, but also millennials, young 25, 30 years old people, the youngsters who are already burned out. How is that possible? Cathelijn, I invited you for this interview because you are experienced very much with this burnout. You have a very bad burnout last year, this year, and it's going better, luckily. Can you tell me something about this story? How is your story about this burnout?
Well, I think because I'm an entrepreneur as well, I work for myself. It's always tempting to keep working, especially when you really enjoy what you do. I'm a writer, I'm a journalist, and I love writing. But sometimes you need to know when to take a break. And I guess I wasn't really good at that. And moreover, I tend to be a pleaser, so I like it when everyone's having fun and happy. So I guess I was really focused on the moods and the satisfaction of other people. And I guess sometimes I tend to forget myself. And I guess that's bottom line where I took a wrong turn. And I see it a lot in my environment as well, among my friends. People are always busy. People from my age, let's say in their 20s, late 20s, everyone's always very busy and in a hurry and lots of social activities in the weekends. So we never really take a break from any of it. So aside from work, there's also the social life, which we find very important. We don't want to miss any birthdays of friends or awesome parties in the weekends. We want to experience it all. Sometimes you tend to forget to listen to your body and what your body needs and what your brain needs. Because your brain is also an organ.
May I ask you something about your body? You tell me it's also a combination with your head and your body. What was the moment that you experienced you have a burnout? Did you recognize it? Did you feel that something's changed in your body, or what was it? Can you tell me?
That's a very good question. I guess my body and mind weren't very connected. I did experience some signals, which actually were warnings, big time warnings, but I didn't recognize them as such because I wasn't familiar with hyperventilation or at one point panic attacks. I had trouble with breathing. I didn't have much energy left, but I thought, maybe I'm just tired. I might have been too busy for quite some time. So I started working less, but that it was already too late. So yes, my body gave several signals, but I sort of ignored them because I couldn't place them. I didn't know what to do with it. And I always believed that maybe some things will go away, but it didn't. It got worse, way worse, up to some point that yeah, I just sort of got more and more panic attacks when I was surrounded by more people, and severe anxiety and hyperventilation. And those are signals that you at one point have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, something's not quite right. Something's going on.
How long was that before you see a doctor, or did it take a long time when you want to see a doctor because you thought, I can fix this, my head don't want this, and my body let me alone? So what happened? What did you do?
I think I ignored it for quite some time. Yeah, I think it might have been 6 months already, so it was a long time coming.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a long time. At one point I went to the doctor because I got this muscle pain between my ribs due to the hyperventilation. So that was a big sign. But even then, the doctor told me, I think you're headed for a burnout. I just spent a month on Bali. So I didn't take it seriously at all. I sort of made a little joke about it. But the funny thing is that at Bali, most people have vacation and enjoy it. I always combined vacation and holiday with work as well. So I never really completely tuned out or took a break from everything. So it always sort of continued, forever.
But what did the doctor say? You went back to the doctor, and did you believe it then? What was he saying?
He said I could have some help via the doctor's office. So I had a couple of conversations, and I thought, well, still don't think there's something really wrong with me. But I did notice that it wasn't getting any better. It was actually getting worse. But the hardest part is accepting that this is happening to you, because you see all these people who are thriving around you, also high achieving like me. I'm very ambitious. I have a great passion. I get easily bored, so I really, really want to challenge myself continuously. But at one point you have to be honest with yourself, because you cannot cope with going to the supermarket anymore. You're constantly crying without any reason.
You couldn't go to the supermarket anymore?
Not without crying and hyperventilating. No.
Yeah, I saw that was your mom. I saw how your condition was very bad. You couldn't walk for 5 minutes, or you didn't sleep, and the motor was still going on. So you want to fix it very quick, and that doesn't work. So what did you do? What was the next step?
Well, that is, I would like to tap into that, because that's very typical for burnouts, for millennials. We want quick fixes. We want someone to give a solution and then just tell me what to do and I'll fix it. But burnout doesn't work that way.
How does it work? Well, what is a burnout? Because a lot of people are listening and looking to this television show from Awake TV. Can you tell us how was your path? Where went you through? Because it was horrible to see, for me as a mom, and for you as my daughter, as a millennial. How did you experience this all?
I find it quite hard looking back, because it was a period of literally surviving, because I slept for just a couple of hours each night. I woke up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. And there was a hyperventilation going on throughout the whole day, continuously crying as well. Couldn't really go anywhere because there was people everywhere, and you get severe stress from them. Um, so it was surviving literally. So I
Mhm.
cannot really even remember that good, but I felt really isolated.
Mm. Yeah,
Sitting.
we're talking now also about archetype and talents, Cathelijn.
Yeah,
You were really like this girl in a bubble with your laptop, but
yeah,
you don't want that sign from your laptop. You don't want to look at it, but you were inside. You couldn't go to the supermarket. It was really heavy stuff. It was not
yeah.
a choice because normally you were very busy, very excited about everything, very interested in everything. So you have to stop the motor in your head. And how did you do that? Because it looks very difficult for me when you were in this situation. Can you
Yeah,
explain
I think
how
it's
you?
good to mention that there's a really big difference between finding peace and
Hmm.
finding inner peace.
What's
Because
the
you can't
difference?
avoid, yeah, you can't, sorry?
What's the difference? Can you explain to us, to listeners?
Yeah, you can avoid crowded places, of course, and find peace and quiet here on the balcony is
Mm,
where I sat a lot,
mm,
just by myself, because even having conversations with people took me too much energy, which I didn't have.
mm,
Um, but inner peace is really becoming or coming at a standstill and being accepting your situation and trying to clear your head, um, which is quite hard because we tend to, when we take a break, we tend to grab our phones or we tend to put on the television or grab a book or maybe even all of that all at once, or listen to music. We never really just be. So it's very difficult, especially for someone like me who loves to be very busy, um, to really stop and also
What did
make.
you do? What did you do? How did you find this inner peace, not inner peace, the peace in yourself? How did you find it?
Um, I went for walks, a lot of walks, um, and exercising a lot in the gym.
Hmm.
At one point, but I was allowed to do that because in the beginning I couldn't even walk for 10 minutes or
Mhm.
ride my bike for 5 minutes.
Unbelievable,
Uh,
huh? But it was true. Yeah.
yeah, it's very hard to imagine, but yes, it happens. But I tried a lot of yoga lessons, yin yoga lessons.
Hmm.
They really helped actually. Drawing is something I did,
Hmm.
um, and journaling at one
And
point.
what would you say about journaling? Because me, as a Jungian therapist, I see how good it is to journal. What did you find? What is the positive side of it in the burnout, the journaling? Can you tell us?
Side is literally getting thoughts out of your head and putting them on paper so you can visualize them on paper in case you're afraid to forget something or you
Mm-hmm.
just want to track your improvements or put down your feelings. You can write it off. But at the same time, sometimes it will, for me, it was too, how do you say it? It was too hard to read,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it's you're writing down tough stories and it's about you and it's about the focus that you lost or things you had to leave behind or not feeling very valuable at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to read afterwards, so, and hard to write down, so sometimes I took a break from that as well. I think it's about finding a balance in what feels good. It's all about listening to your body from that moment on.
Okay, but at the end, do you accept it? Did you accept it? You're frozen now. No.
Uh, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, your image is frozen on the on the screen. This is better now. Yeah, great. So what did you need
Is
to
it
accept this
better now?
burnout? Yes, better. Yeah. Is it what did you need to accept this situation? Because you couldn't go outside. At the end, you go to the gym with the athlete, also wonderful archetype. So it brings you some rest and some peace. But when did you really accept that you had a burnout?
think it took me. I think it took me quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point when the psychologist said to me, like, "You're a very ambitious woman. I can tell,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exactly your type of person that needs to hit your head quite sometimes before you really start. Only once you have accepted it to be second,
Mm-hmm.
exactly your time, you can come. It took me and to only then you can come. It all starts with acceptance.
Yeah.
Then, did you ever? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
The only way,
you have a question yourself?
yeah, I was wondering, did you ever feel like you were close to a burnout?
Oh yes, I think it was really, I worked very hard my whole life. I've now company for 33 years, as you know, and sometimes it's quite busy, but I've learned to make my boundaries when I get older. I wasn't burnout, but could have been. But I was really impressed by burnout because yeah, I thought I won't like that at all, but it is not a choice you make. It's also something about your character, I think.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know, but it's all about saying no. Me as a therapist, I see a lot of people, they are not succeeding in saying no to everybody. So this is the point. Saying no is really, yeah, in my card deck, where I can show you some cards of it, there is also a card of saying no, self-acceptance, perfectionism. There are
Yeah.
also some cards of, yeah. So, yeah.
This is one of the cards from your burnout game.
Yeah, your screen is not moving, Cathelijn. Is there something in your screen? Why you're frozen in the screen?
I think I'm gonna go head over to the other room. Maybe there's better Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, I think this is a problem in Amsterdam. Yeah, this is better. Now I can see you, and then I can see you moving. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So boundaries are really, really difficult to make. Boundaries. Yeah. So how is that for you to make boundaries? Because you have to take care of yourself. There's also archetype with a nourisher. And a nourisher, you see she has an empty belly here. She has to take care of herself. How did she do that when you were burnout, Cathelijn?
I think I really needed to find my nourisher again. I think I sort of lost her for a while. I think one of the most important lessons I learned last year is that your body is telling you something every day, every single day, over and over again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, and you just need to be willing to listen.
And how was that about you? Did you want to listen because you feel very bad with this burnout?
I couldn't really believe that. Something I learned is that not only deadlines and work and having a lot of appointments with friends can bring you stress. It's also what's happening in here. So your even your thoughts can give you stress. And we tend to spend a lot of hours in the gym to work out for our body, but we forget the brain, and the brain is an organ as well, and you have to nourish it as well, and that's something that we tend to forget.
You made a study about the brain. You learned a lot of it. You read book about it. What can you tell us about the brain, the connection with burnout, brain, body? Because a lot of people has a misunderstanding about burnout. You mentioned that this year, and I think it's good to tell people because there's so much misunderstanding about burnout. They think, well, they work too hard, or it's so much more complicated, I think. Can you tell me more? Can you tell us more about this? Misunderstanding?
Yes, I think there's a
Really?
huge misunderstanding when it comes to burnout.
Mhm.
And when I'm honest, I had a different idea of burnout as well. I thought it would happen to people um, who are who are very vulnerable or easily stressed or cope with anxiety on a daily basis.
Mhm.
But my psychologist told me that it's also the people like me who are very anxious or very willing to thrive at their work, um, and gain new knowledge, challenge themselves all the time, learn new things. Um, and also what you said, it's characteristics, sorry.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when you're somebody who wants to please other people, you tend to
Mhm.
forget yourself. So it's a mix and combination of your environment,
Mhm.
and your character,
Mhm.
and the happenings in your life,
It's
like
also
something
about, yeah. Is it also, Cathelijn, about to be the good girl, to be loyal to everybody?
yeah, loyal is a big topic in my life as well. But the most important thing is to be, it sounds very cheesy, but to be loyal to yourself and to
Mm.
what you want. And that's a question I haven't been asking me myself for a really long time.
Mm.
I was always wondering what other people needed, instead of what I really need and want.
Did you,
So
were you afraid that people call you an egoist when you would think more about yourself?
I don't know. I think so. There might have been some fear for that, but mostly I just saw it as a duty, as just
Mm.
something you needed to do, to
Mm.
be polite and social, and you want
Mm.
people to like you. So
That's what I
I,
learned as a mother. But now, in when you're an adult, you're nearly 30, you see it doesn't work. Only be loyal and be a servant, also an archetype. So, what is your intention for the future, Cathelijn? What did you change in your life?
um, I chose to spend more time, um, more me time actually.
Mm-hmm.
And from now on, I'm just asking myself every single time if someone asks me to get coffee or go to the movies or work for them, the first thing I ask myself is not, do I need the money, or do I need to be there, or is somebody going to get mad if I don't go?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to ask, do I really want to go? And is it going to give me energy, new
Yes.
energy?
What I saw with you is it's very special that you all the time you were burnout and you were really burnout that it was possible for you to work, to do some work to earn your money. How did you do that? What was what
Yeah,
was
that's a
the
question a
drive?
lot of people ask me. I never stopped working completely, though that was against the advice of my psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
But she also noticed that I needed to be someone, like I didn't want to completely lose my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to keep doing something, and it was only 3-4 hours a week, which is basically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave me purpose.
Yeah.
Because if you take away the purpose as well, um, it's hard to come back from not working at all, like zero, and not feeling valuable or making like you can
You
make.
didn't have a depression, did you? No depression?
No,
No.
no.
And where are you now? Because my game was about how to relight your fire. I also had put some matches in it. So what do you need, Cathelijn? You're not really there yet. You're not really out of your burnout. But how to relight your fire for the future?
I think fire in this case is relighting my energy.
Mm.
And I think what is very important is to, yeah, I picked three of the cards that I find very important to me, which is one is says body.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think which is very important is to find a balance in activities and people that give you energy, and
Mm-hmm.
activities and people that drain energy.
Yeah.
So you have to make choices in that. You can't do it all.
No.
If it's one thing I learned, you can do it all.
Mm.
And of course, listening to the signals of your body,
Mm-hmm.
saying no.
Mm-hmm. So you know we talked about this, yes?
Yeah, and I think this is maybe one of the hardest ones. It says perfectionism.
What about that? What is so difficult about that?
Um, I think I tend to strive for doing things perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to make mistakes. But if you tend to always wanting to do everything as perfect as possible, it takes a lot of your energy,
Mm-hmm.
and you waste energy as well because you don't have to do everything perfectly. It's
Yeah.
not possible. It's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
So
That's for sure. I also have this card from the clock, the time. What
yeah,
about time? Has this changed your timetable during the week or during the day? What about time?
time is an interesting one. I think normally I wasn't getting stressed by time
Mm-hmm.
that much,
Mm-hmm.
but now I just reserve more time. So if I need to be somewhere, I
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even schedule ahead like extra 30 minutes so I don't have to worry or get stressed from missing the train or the bus. Or when I have appointments, I tend to come early. Sometimes I'm there 20 minutes before so I can just settle down and get a little me time before I start um, conversations
Yeah,
or
so
work.
this is about time, especially me time. So this was new for you
Yeah,
because there was not much me time. How
no.
about you looking in this mirror? Everybody should do this about self-love. You think I love myself now much more when I'm recovering from this. I also have this card, the recovering of the burnout.
I think self-love is a very important one because what I said before, the main question I ask myself many times nowadays is this going to make me happy? Is this going to give me energy?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all about self-love because um, if you say yes to someone else when
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to, you're saying no to you.
Wow, this is a good one. This is good to hear. Yeah.
You choose you over someone else.
Mm-hmm. And you never did before.
No, not very often, no. So I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
mainly the definition of self-love. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
choose for yourself.
I also like to talk with you about bore-out, Cathelijn. You have
Yeah.
the burnout, but nobody knows this word bore-out. Do you know about the bore-out? You recognize that?
Yes, I've read about it. I actually always thought I would maybe sooner have a bore out than a burnout. Um, but they're actually quite like the symptoms are quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
You feel stressed, you feel anxiety, you feel low energy level,
Mm-hmm.
but they're very different because burnout is too much, you're
Mm-hmm.
drowning,
Mm-hmm.
and bore out is too less. So you're not feeling fulfillment or satisfaction or um, valued or like you're making a difference.
Yeah.
And if you're too long in an if you're too long in a work environment where you're not appreciated or you don't feel like you can make a difference or nobody notices you
Mm-hmm.
and you can't really yeah make an impact,
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point you can get into a burnout because you get into a rut and you get depressed
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like you don't matter.
Yeah. But do
Yeah.
you think it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to recover? Uh,
Yes.
what helps you the most to recover? You're not really there yet, but you're, yeah, it's going better, luckily. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going way better. So the question is how to recover, or
Yeah. What helps you the most? You do sport?
yeah, I exercise a lot. I think I work out 3-4 times a week.
Yes.
It helps clear my head,
Mm-hmm.
which is really nice. Not to have a screen or a book or something else to make you relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of exercising. Uh, yeah, I take walks still
Mm-hmm.
here in Amsterdam and through the park. I write a lot on my blog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what really helps me to put it all, to sort of leave it behind me a little bit, is to write an article for the Dutch magazine
Yeah,
Psychologie.
that's nice. That I like that a lot. That you took that invitation. You do a wonderful interview, an article for this important magazine in Netherlands, Psychology, and you did a lot of research for that. And that's very brave that you tell your own story. It's also brave that you tell your story in this TV show. So I hope it can be helpful for other people. And
Yes.
so, and there you interview also your own therapist, isn't it?
Yes, I asked her not questions about me, but about her experience as a
Mm-hmm.
psychologist. She's an expert in burnout, so I was really keen on picking her brain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I asked her like, how is it possible that we ignore signals from our body
Mm-hmm.
until we cannot anymore? I wanted to know the science behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And as it appears, actually, research points out that because your brain, you lose focus, so you cannot think straight or clear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you are literally less capable of keeping yourself healthy. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't think straight anymore. So normally you would think, oh, these signals are not very good. Maybe I should act on them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're already heading burnout, you tend to take care of yourself less, even less.
Yeah. And I also talk about concentration, losing your keys, losing something, or
Yeah. Concentration is also, for me, typical burnout symptom.
mm-hmm.
Because the trigger of your focus, like stress, can work for you in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
When you have to give a presentation of 5 minutes before you feel really stressed,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a good thing because you gain a lot of focus.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are stressed all the time, the focus trigger that goes on and off, it doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you're less focused.
Yeah. Is there a benefit, Cathelijn, you can tell the listeners about getting a burnout?
I think it's a very rough and tough lesson, burnout, but I think it's also a good lesson because at the end of the day, if you cannot simply choose how to live your own life without getting too much influenced by other people or expectations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now it's a more positive situation. You're going on a big holiday, so there is something you give a present to yourself, and this holiday card is also one of the burnout. There are questions that will you join me on a holiday? I need rest and a holiday. My last holiday was 10 years ago. It was not 10 years ago because you travel a lot and you blog a lot. You're a travel blogger in Netherlands, and but what are you going to do? What is so helpful for you that you say, well, then I'm better, then I go for holiday? What is your plan to do? You want to share?
Well, I think the archetype free spirit also helps me with this.
Yes.
Because I think one of my biggest passions, or maybe I should say values, yes, the free spirit, is freedom.
Yeah.
And while traveling, you feel more free than ever. At least for me, that's true. So I'm going on a road trip to the United States, from New York to San Francisco, all the way crossing the country by car with one of my best friends. So that should be quite an adventure. I'm looking forward to it a lot, and it's good to have something to plan again, or something to look forward to. That because that's been a long time coming.
Yeah, a new purpose. So, Cathelijn, I think maybe you see her in the United States when she's on a big travel. But I would ask you: do you have some advice for people or nearly burnout or now burnout? What can they do? What is your advice?
I think my advice would be, I think the most important thing is to know your signals, your own signals, because I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And when you know what happens with your body when you're stressed or you're too busy,
Mm-hmm.
do you have trouble breathing, or do you have sleepless nights? Do you have insomnia? Whatever your signals are, it's important to know what they are, because if they appear,
Mm-hmm.
you can see them as warnings,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just take a step back
Yes.
and make sure it doesn't get any worse. And if you find that hard, tell one of your friends, tell your partner, tell your roommate, tell your family member, so they can keep an eye out.
Yeah. So, and you will see, that's also why I invite you, that when you go through the process, looking for some help by a therapist, blogging, traveling, it will help you in the end to recover. And that's also, I want to thank you for your personal story. It's for me very special as a mother, because I was also very worried what's going on. My strong daughter is getting a burnout. How is that possible? I don't understand. I didn't believe. And that's very difficult also for the other people, because they don't understand it. And it's
Yeah,
so difficult and hard to understand because, well, everything is normal and it's not. So it's a deep process inside. I recognize it as a therapist, and everybody has his own journey to go. So, Cathelijn, for you are the matches to relight your fire. You're already there, and
yeah.
you're nearly there. And I wish you wonderful travel. Thank you for participating in this Awake TV show. I hope people will join this show and learn about this burnout, because it's a difficult, heavy process. Thank you for participating. It was really special to have you here, and wish you a wonderful day.
Thank you for
Bye
having me.
bye. Well, this was a very inspiring and interesting conversation with my daughter Cathelijn about burnout. But from her own experience, Cathelijn knows very well how to explain how people, and especially millennials like herself, can become burnout. And it can be by everybody, by me, by everybody. And she also has some great advice how you can prevent it. Dare to say no, that's really difficult. I have a card from that. To say no. There it is. To say no, this is my card deck. It's beautiful with this flame on it. It's a card deck with cards. You can take one every day or one a week, or you play together to relight your fire. Because the fire with the burnout, the matches are burnout, and you are burnout. You're no energy. No energy. The energy, you have low batteries. So these colors who are in the box, the cards have these colors of this flame. And you get in the box also, like a medicine, matches to relight your fire when you have a burnout. It's not totally not about a joke. You can play with these beautiful cards, but it can be very helpful to think about it, and there are stimulating questions to think about yourself. How can this happen? Because I know Cathelijn very well. She's my daughter, and that how is that possible? She's very strong, very good in her work, but also very much a perfectionist. And this is one of the main things with a burnout. Most of the people work too hard and want to do the work very good. So that's a card you can be helpful. As you can see, archetypes can play a crucial role in the analysis of your own situation and in helping to survive nightmares like a burnout. In my work, I also use archetype as a way to get more insight in the inner world of the clients. Because of the importance of all this, my offer for this week will be a reduction of the price for my burnout card deck. So you can exercise yourself. You can do it yourself, and you can book a session. And at the end of the show, I will tell you more about this. From Cathelijn's story, you can learn how important it is to know your archetypes. So because they are also your helpers, they can help you to survive, to recover from this burnout, especially in the light side and the shadow side of the archetype. This is also to create more self-love. When you look in the mirror, that you say, yes, I love and I accept myself. I can also embrace my shadow sides. So by knowing your archetypes, you connect with your inner self and your mission in life. What are you going to do here in this life? Your most important archetypes are your inner dream team, and they help you to open your closed treasure box. So I would be grateful to help you to open your treasure box and find your own treasures. For you have so much power inside of you, and you know that. So hold your key and to open your own treasure box. Go, go, go. Use them. To connect with your archetypes, I made a special card deck in the beautiful treasure box. It's called Archetype and Talents. It contains 74 archetypes, and a lot of them will be asleep. So maybe it's your task to open this treasure box and meet all your archetypes. So in the end, you will find your inner dream team. I also made other games about self-compassion, self-love, burnout, and life shift, because it can be very helpful when you have those insights to make that big life shift. Next show, I will tell you about the people. I made 2 books about life shifts, very interesting. When you make that step and cross that border and make definitely that life shift. It seems the right show to tell you more about my card deck Burnout. It contains 30 cards, beautifully designed and printed with a special foil on the back. Really nice. It's really, yeah, you can feel the fire when you see them. They feel good in your hands, and that's important, for it's a very serious subject. In the box, it's also a small handout about how you can use this card deck, and there's extra matches I'll show you to relight your fire. So you can play with it, because life is a game, and let's play this together. The 30 beautiful cards show all the themes you can connect with burnout. In the interview with Cathelijn, some of them were really discussed, like perfectionism, the time, the clock, also important, always in a rush, and there's no need to. But also noise, crowd, a lot of noise. It can be too much when you burn out. So you have to live in silence for a week or more, or a year. And it's also about feeling again your own freedom. Or your recovery. How do you do that? Relaxation, when you're working on your recovery. Every card, every theme has 3 questions or statements that you can reflect on your own in a quiet place, or with your friends, a partner, or a client. It's also very useful for therapists and psychologists. Anything is possible as long as you take the time to do it. Next time I will have 2 special guests, especially namely the woman from Norway. She's Mona Wimbrand. She's from Norway, and Kees Paling from the Netherlands, who also happens to be my husband for already 33 years. Together we made 2 books about life shifts and a book with Mona, and that will be a subject of our conversation next show. Why is that people turn their life totally upside down and make a life shift? What is a real life shift? And why should you too consider to make a real life shift? So I hope you will join me next Wednesday on Awake TV, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon New York time, 5 p.m. London time, and 6 p.m. Paris, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Berlin. The special offer of today is the reduction of €20 on the price on the Burnout card deck I show you today. Instead of €99, you will be paying €79. You can find the offer at the homepage of my website or in my web shop, and is without shipping. For more information, you can go to my website. It's www.ofkjetekens.com. And for more information on my guest, Cathelijn Paling, Cathelegen, Paling, Paleng.nl. So, thank you for listening again. It was wonderful to have you here on this Wednesday. And next time I will tell you more about another game of mine, and that will be Life Shift, or in Netherlands, Levensdraai. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you next Wednesday. Bye bye.